was, you remember this, Don, when Neil looked at him and said, so what do you tell people that, don't want to try anymore? They're kind of lacking motivation, whatever. So he just kind of sat there and he's just quiet for a second and he said, they should just die. And he did it with a straight face and everybody started laughing. And he goes, no, but seriously, he said, look, in what world do you live in that you don't want to be better, right? Like you want to be better. And he said this in a few sentences, but I'm just kind of like paraphrasing it. He said, I don't have the energy to convince people to do work. I have the energy to educate and support you. And so if you don't see yourself in a world where you want to get better, you should just die because you're already acting like you're dead.
We could pretty much drop the mic and end the session right there since
Oh, pretty much.
you already just said it all, Khai.
No, the next person that complains to me that they need accountability and coaching, that's basically what I tell them.
Yeah.
It's not up to me. Like, do you not live in a world that you don't want to be better? It was just really good.
And I think that that's an interesting thing where, look, I don't know where you wanted to go with today's call, but we're having a good conversation about reality, and that the reality of the loan officer, the reality of the branch manager, the reality of the regional, the reality of the CEOs of the mortgage industry is that we're living in a world of fatigue.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sonia, you still have the music going.
You haven't technically started, so I wasn't sure.
On, man, this is the more momentum call.
Whenever you want to go. I mean, it's 11:07 whenever you want to get started.
Rock and roll. So yeah, I mean, I think that the reality is we are in a world where everybody's fatigued, and it's okay to question yourself if this is the right industry for you, if you want to do this again, if you have to do it, and then bite the bullet and just do it.
Yeah.
But it's okay to question. It's okay to analyze. It's okay to reflect and make decisions on A, do I want to keep doing this? And B, if I do keep doing this, how do I do it better?
Right. What I wanted to cover today is that I think that a lot of people are past the I want to have a better life and I want to keep doing it, but they're stuck someplace. They're either stuck mentally because maybe they're burnt out. They're stuck because they're tired of getting beaten down every single day. So how are they going to approach it again? Or maybe they're stuck because they don't know how to do something. They don't understand technology because they never adopted it. Or I don't know how to do video, or it's going to look shitty. And then we have the introverts that overthink everything. And then we have the extroverts that just do things aimlessly and mindlessly, but sometimes the quality sucks. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that. So what I wanted to talk about today is getting unstuck in order to create momentum, because that's where a lot of people are. No matter where you are in your business, you're stuck at some point. And there's different ways to get unstuck because it depends on where you're stuck. Is it in your head? Is it in your actual like process? Is it in your knowledge? Is it in your skills? And so I wanted to cover all that stuff today.
I love that.
I'm finally here.
Thanks for joining us, Don.
Well, shoot, I hate technology sometimes. You switch computers from one area to the other, and all of a sudden it doesn't want to talk to the new area.
Yeah.
So good to see you, Khai.
What's up, buddy? Yeah, no, I was just telling Gino we missed him in Vegas, but I think there is a recording to watch.
Yeah, I'm gonna get a hold of that.
Yeah, I got to get a hold of it too.
Even if it's a clandestine version. Look how old I am. I'm going to download it on Napster.
Yeah.
You know what you touched on, Khai, though, about getting stuck is different for every person.
Yep.
And I think that that's what you see in your coaching practice, I'm sure, is that everybody's stuck in a different place. And some things are easier to get unstuck than others. I mean, some people are going to make a company change. Some people are going to make a model change, and they're going to go from retail to broker or broker to retail. That's what
at least temporarily.
I was going to say that's what we're seeing the most of.
Yeah.
We're just looking for change, period.
Yeah. Well, the most important thing is the three of us are from LA. So I'm going to quote Kobe Bryant, and they asked him, so what happens like when you lose a game or when you fail? And he said, so here's the thing. When I don't do well, I continue to move forward because I have to improve, right? So if he loses a game, you always see Kobe shooting at the opposing arena for like another 2 hours. And he says, so I have to get better. He says, but here's the thing. Even when I win, I also move forward and I get better. So it doesn't matter whether I win or lose. I'm still moving forward and getting better. So I've just learned that it doesn't matter whether I win or lose. I'm constantly moving forward. Okay. So that's the first key is creating forward movement. But there are still some people that don't know how, or maybe they need to be reminded, like, and I want to get into this because I got a couple slides, but I see people say things like, well, I don't know how to do such and such. Just fill in the blank. It doesn't matter what it is. I don't know how to do social media. I don't know whatever. Here's another Alex Hormozi quote. Tell me that you've put in 20 hours to actually learn that thing and then get back to me, right? So if you suck at video, tell me that you actually put in 20 hours practicing video, writing your video content, learning video before you gave it a 5-minute thought, got scared, and quit. And so moving forward sometimes is about that, okay? The Summer Olympics are coming up. Gino, how many gold medals does Michael Phelps have?
12.
He has 23 gold medals,
23, yeah.
right? So let's look at how many
8 in 1 year.
hours.
No,
Is that?
no, wasn't it 12 in 1 year? He shattered the record.
I think so, yeah, but he has 23 total.
I didn't know. 12, yeah.
But let's look at how many hours he actually competed in a race to win the gold medal versus how many hours he practiced, right? So one of the issues we have with the industry is we don't practice.
Yeah.
For us that try to golf, the golfers that always play and they're like, I'm not getting any better. I'm like, bro, you never practice. You don't take a lesson. You don't have a coach. Like, you don't have anything. And so if you're not good at something, then, or if you're not good at something, like I said, the introverts and extroverts are a little bit different, but have you put in the time to learn that thing? Because if you did, you're going to make forward progress and you're going to get better at it and you're going to do it. Right. And that's what I see right now, especially right now. Here's the biggest thing that I hear. It's like, but I am doing stuff, but the results are shitty. You know what I mean? So it's like, okay, what do we do to fix that? Right. Because you can't do insanity and just do the same thing over and over and expect different results. And so there's little different prescriptions. And so I want to talk about the different reasons why people get stuck, what happens when you do, how to get out of it, and you guys experience that yourself too, right?
Yeah. And then on that same vein, I did want to share, because my wife's really been focused on endurance athletes or athletes in generals with everything that she's working on. And we found this quote by Usain Bolt, right? Fastest man in the world. And he says, I practiced for 4 years for 9 seconds. You'll never understand.
Right. And look, this is going to go a little bit out of order, but we have introverts and extroverts. And can everybody here who's listening, can you just type in the chat really quickly if you consider yourself more of an introvert or more of an extrovert? Like, where do you lean? Like, I consider myself an ambivert, former introvert, more extroverted today. So I lean toward extroverted behavior. But like, if you can put in the chat, like, do you lean toward introvert or extrovert, right? So here's the difference between introverts and extroverts and like how they treat things. So the introvert is going to not want to do things because they don't want to embarrass themselves. They don't like doing crappy things. They don't want to put themselves out there until it's worth it. So they tend to overthink. Okay. Extroverts are the opposite. They'll just start doing shit, whether it's shitty or not. You know what I mean? So what happens is that you look at an introvert and you give them an extrovert prescription. Just like, oh, don't worry about it. Just put the video out. Who cares what you look like? Never tell that to an introvert because they're going to be, what are you talking about? That's everything that I care about is what I look like, right? Extroverts are the opposite. They're doing videos every single day and it's just looking like shit. And so the extroverts have a different problem. Like, man, I'm working so hard and I'm not getting any results. That's the extrovert's problem. I'm doing everything. I'm not getting results. The introvert's problem is I can't even get started. But it boils down to quality, right? So I look at an introvert and I'm like, no, I get it. Like, why would you do anything that's shitty? But have you put in the time to actually learn? Have you put in the time? Like, I want you to do a good video. So why don't we make your first video really, really good? Because what I know is that like good quality is addicting and it's high value. So let's work on making it good, right? And then I look at the extroverts, you did all this stuff. It's like, let's slow down. And before you do the next 50 things, let's stop and like, let's make it good, And I'm going to talk about it, but that's the thing. So I have this list right here and I'd like you to know. So here's the thing, Jeff, by the way, this whole introvert and extrovert thing, here's the definition of it. It's not a social thing. Extroverts gain energy by being in front of people and introverts get depleted by energy, right? So for an introvert, it's like the more you're with somebody, it's like, man, I'm just so drained talking to this person. And extrovert's like, oh my God, people, it's going to make me happy. I want to relax with people. So if you're like Jeff, and it's like, it kind of depends on the crowd, that means that you're kind of an ambivert in the middle, that there's some people that will energize you and some people that will drain you. While an introvert, everybody drains you, even your close friends. You're like, I still want to go home. You're my best friend, Gino, but I still want to go home. And extroverts are like, Gino, like, what are you doing? And Gino's like, dude, get away from me. Like, no, I want to spend time with you, right? So the ambiverts are kind of in the middle. That's me. But I have this list, and I'm curious if you look at this list, where are you really stuck in your business? Is it really because you need strategies? Or do you overthink? Do you have fear of rejection? Do you lack results? So like you're stuck because you don't want to do it anymore. Do you not like being sucky? Like you want to be better. You actually want to be different. Are you overwhelmed? Okay. And you're confused where to start. Do you have imposter syndrome? So imposter syndrome is like, man, I want to be as like amazing, as charismatic as Don, but I don't know where to start because my video is going to suck and his video is going to be good. So you're intimidated by somebody. Maybe you're intimidated by a top producer. Do you procrastinate? Like the world is always a distraction. Are you never ready? Or were you good at one point, but now you're just kicked down and motivated, unmotivated and depressed because the market sucks? That's what I want to know. And I would like for you guys to put into chat. Ooh, I would like for you guys to put into chat. And you can just put the number if you want to do it quickly. But if you had to pick like your top three, where do you get stuck, right? So Gino, if you had to pick two of these, where do you get stuck? I'm going to use you as a guinea pig.
I think usually probably three is the only thing that comes to mind right now.
Fear of rejection. Okay.
And
okay. And that's a little bit more of your introverted tendencies.
Yeah. And my solution for that, because when I feel myself in that spot, my solution for that is really, I know this sounds overly simplified, but it's just do it. You'll be fine.
Yeah. Which is an extroverted solution, which I'm not saying is bad, but it's an extroverted solution. Like just get over yourself, because that's what extroverts say, right? Don, what are you if you had to pick?
Mine definitely is between 2 and 6, because I'm always trying to do, plan and do an incredible job, but we're overwhelmed because you overthink everything,
Yeah.
So it does delay me sometimes in, having clarity and moving forward.
Yep. So what happens when we get stuck is we end up doing one of these 4 things, right? You've heard of fight, flight, or freeze, but there's also fawn, and I want to explain what fawn is. So let's just talk about flight. I'm going to quit the industry. All right, see you later. Good. Get out of here. Get rid of your license. More business for us. Like let them run, right? Or maybe some of you were thinking about quitting, but fight, freeze, and fawn are the ones that you got to watch out for. So in general, the extroverts, they tend to fight. They'll just keep cranking out and trying and trying and trying. The downside about that is if you keep trying, you keep getting beat up, right? So we want to talk about that. The introverts or the ambiverts sometimes just tend to freeze, and extroverts can freeze too, because you're like, man, I don't know what do I do. I'm just kind of confused. What fawning is fawning is just giving in to other things and other distractions to kind of like keep you busy, to appease people, to make it feel like you're being productive, but you're not. It's like, you know what? I'm going to go like fix my loans and tinker with these toys. And so you're just kind of doing other things. So you're still doing stuff, but you're just kind of doing the wrong stuff, right?
Yep. So that reminds me of a thing that I had to learn in my younger years, which is the difference between work ethic and discipline.
Right.
Because the reality is, like you said, fawning, you could say, oh, I work 14 hours a day. But then if you really look at it, it's like, but what do you do during those 14 hours a day? And so that's the difference between work ethic and discipline. It took me well into my 30s to be able how to flip that switch and say, that one thing I really don't want to do is what I have to do. And if I do it, I will feel so good that I got it done. So I made it into a reward system so that I could overcome that fear of, not wanting to do something because of rejection or whatever it may be, and say, look, if I just get it done, I'm going to feel so good. And that's what's helped me be able to get unstuck and do things.
I think the main thing that we lack right now, which is appropriate for the industry. So, this was the chart that I had. Are you introvert? Are you extrovert, amber, and introverted? And it's like introverts are overly critical of themselves, so they never get started. Extroverts get started, but aren't as critical of themselves, so they do lots of lower quality work, right? And so I mentioned this because what we're really lacking in the industry right now is quality. And quality is really the word in this industry. Because I mean, let's face it, man, if this is 2021 and just like loans are falling from the sky, screw quality. Just throw in a loan and see what sticks, and you're going to still fund 12 loans, right? But like quality matters because we don't have enough opportunities. So you have to show up and be your best and convert the best in opportunities. You have to differentiate. And so doing a lot of shitty work doesn't work in this market. Like quality is it, right? And what has been applied to it is sometimes we get applied the wrong prescription. So they're like, look, in a hard market, you got to work harder and make more phone calls and do more work and do more. I'm like, no, it's not about more, it's about quality. Because if you do more when there's less opportunity, you're going to blow the opportunity, right? So my analogy is this: if we're in a small town and we go to a bar and there's like 5 girls, bro, I got 5 shots at getting a girl's phone number. Like, in other words, it's scarcity into a bar. There's 5 girls and there's 50 guys in a bar. It's not like just go shoot your shot. Go talk to 5 of them. Who cares what you say? Just say hi to them. Okay, well, I'm done. I shot my shot. Now what? That happens if I walk into a bar and there's 5 guys and 50 girls. I could just say hi and some of them is going to say yes because of the supply and demand, right? But when there's less supply, you have to up your quality. All right. So speaking of Hormozi said a quote. He said a quote yesterday that I saw, which was pretty amazing. He said, let me pull it up because I screen captured it. He said, imagine a competitor you would never want to go against. He's focused, determined, skilled, relentless, says all the right things. You know what he looks like. You know how he acts. You know who he associates with. Great. Become that person. Become that person, right? And we don't do that. We don't try to become our best competitor. We don't try to be, we don't try to be the best. And so the prescription that we've been getting is let's go back to the basics. Let's call your 50 realtors every Monday. Let's pound the phones. Let's pound your database. And then I literally have people go, okay, I did that. Now what? Now what, right? And so you got to be better. You got to say to yourself, it's me against somebody else. It's me against somebody else, right? So I want to show you a small example, and I told him that I would embarrass him. I had a client that we talked about the importance of doing marketing on social media, and I asked him a really simple question, and he's introverted. I said, why don't you do that? And he goes, because I don't know how, and I don't know, I get intimidated because my videos are shitty. So I said, all right, well, show me the video, right? So I'm going to show you the video. Okay, I'm going to show you the video that he sent me. And it's really interesting. So I'm going to click share sound, show video. So he sent me this video, and I told him that I would show this.
Today, I want to share with you a powerful tip to help your buyers for their dream home with seller credits. Instead of lowering the home price, the seller gives a seller's credits.
Okay, I'm going to stop because I told him, I said, man, that is shitty. Like, I would never want to do that. Right? Are you kidding me? Like, I would never want to post that. By the way, I have shitty videos and I purposely leave them on my Instagram because I want to show people like the evolution. So here's what an extrovert would say. Doesn't matter. Put the shitty video out. You'll get better. You'll get better. You'll get better. But he's an introvert. And I looked at him and said, no, like, I trust me. You're embarrassed. So he's a coach from the client. I says, I'm going to walk you through this. So I'm going to give you a couple tips. I want you to shoot it again. And then we're just going to keep improving. So 4 takes later, he did the improvements that I told him to do. He changed the script a little bit. He changed his background because it's a shitty background. He changed his approach. And then I told him this. I said, okay, I'm going to edit the video for you. This was 2 hours later, 3 takes later, and this is what we ended up with. Okay. And this might be a little small, so I'm going to try to figure out how to load it.
It's fine.
You want to know a secret that can help you afford your dream home, even in today's high interest rate market? Many sellers today are offering seller credits to make their homes more attractive and more affordable. So instead of lowering the purchase price, they're giving credits to buyers just like you. Instead of using those credits towards closing costs, you'll get more bang for your buck by applying them to lower your interest rate. This can make your mortgage much more affordable. In today's high interest rate market, monthly payments are a real challenge. But with this strategy, your payments can drop significantly.
All right, so I just want to show that example because that happened over 2 hours. So he looked at that and he goes, holy shit, you took me from like ugly to like presentable. I said, yeah. And so I said, how does that make you feel? He goes, I want to do 10 more videos.
All
So
right.
here's the thing is that like good quality and winning is addictive. So if you learn how to, instead of just go out there and do what people say and don't worry about it, it's like spend some time improving the quality. And if you don't know how, then get some guidance, right? Your manager, your coach, whoever it is, but be proud of that because he's proud of that work, and winning is addictive. Nobody likes losing. And the reason why people get stuck is because at some point in time, they got their teeth kicked in and they don't want to repeat that. So get better, right? Like get better. If you did a webinar and you didn't get the good results, like an extrovert would do, I'm just going to do the webinar. I'm going to see what it was. And they tend to do that over and over and they get frustrated. I look at them like, let's improve it, because the better results that you get, you're going to want to do it more. You know, like Don, if I said to you, I'm going to give you the perfect presentation that if you talk to any realtor, they're going to literally go, I'm going to give you all my business today. How often would you want to do that presentation?
Every day.
Every single day. But the reason why people don't want to meet with the realtor is because they have a shitty presentation and they know that they're going to get their teeth kicked in, so they don't want to do it, right? So there's this saying, which I think is a bad saying, which is sales is the numbers game. What they're saying is that you have a shitty sales conversion, but if you ask enough people, they'll say yes. But people don't want to go through that process to get their teeth kicked in. That's not correct. Sales should be a conversion game. You should work as hard as possible to make your sales process as good as possible, which means you have to spend time practicing swimming in the pool like Michael Phelps did until you come up with a really good presentation. Because if you can get that presentation up to 70, 80%, 100% conversion, or the way Alex Hormozi says it, I want to do a presentation that's so good, somebody would feel stupid if they didn't choose me.
I think you're
It's
hitting
so,
the nail on the head right now.
right?
Because right
It's
now, our industry is hurting with conversion.
right. But it's got to be so stupid that now marketing becomes the numbers game, because if I know my sales conversion is 80, 90 to 100%, now it's how many people can I put that sales presentation in front of? Is it 10? Is it 50? Is it 100? So marketing becomes a conversion game. Now, it's funny. I always have a presentation, but then I start going off because that's how my brain works. But like people ask me a question, they say, what is a good presentation to a real estate agent? Now, without telling you the actual presentation, I'm going to give you a really simple formula. What would make a real estate agent choose me over another lender? Or sometimes, have you ever like, Gino, you know what I'm talking about? Like you work with an agent, but you're kind of like, why does he still keep giving deal to somebody else? Like, what's the deal? Like I was asked that question yesterday. You have one goal with a real estate agent more than anything else. People talk about delivering loans. People talk about delivering value. People talk about delivering all this stuff. You have one goal is, again, winning is addictive. So can you help your agent win in anything? Can you help them win that offer when it's multiple offers? Can you help them win that client that was shopping another realtor and shopping other lenders? Can you help them win because they've got buyers that are on the fence? Can you help them win at social media because you're going to help them social media? Can you help them win new clients because you're going to do collaborative webinars together? Because if they feel that working with you means that they're winning and winning more business, they're addicted to you because they're addicted to winning and they're addicted to growing. You know what they're not addicted to? That you delivered a loan on time, because that's not a win. That was just like a necessary evil. But if you did a loan for them, but during the loan process, you wowed the clients, you asked for referrals, and you said, by the way, Mr. Agent, I got some referrals for us, and this transaction isn't even over. We won together. Or what I used to say when you guys and we all did loans together is that I would look at my agents and I would say, I don't want you to babysit this loan because I've got this under control, and here's why. Go out and go get more business. And so he considered it a win, or she considered it a win working with me because she got more business by the time the transaction was over instead of babysitting their loans, and it's understanding the position that you're in and the value that you provide people. But you've got to look at that. But we're so quick to like do the loan, move on to the next. We're so quick to, post every single, even the Instagram algorithms are completely different. There was a time that you could just post every single day. That was how you won in Instagram. but you don't have to anymore. You could literally have like 5 followers, but if you make a badass video, it'll go viral and 100,000 people will view it. So again, even Instagram, even the social media, outfits are saying quality matters, right? And so, Gino, like when you look at your business, it's the same thing. Like literally, Gino, look at your business and say, I could have had better quality at what to make the difference, before I do it 5 more times. Your fear of rejection is because you didn't put yourself through the process of knowing why you're getting rejected for what you need to improve in, right?
I mean, the thing with the fear of rejection is usually around, and I'll just be transparent. It's about launches, something new, something you haven't done before.
Mm-hmm.
I counter it with the things I've done 1,000 times before. It's with something new, and right now, we talked about the basics and blocking and tackling, and yes, that's necessary, right? There, 100%. You listen to Champanozi, and he'll tell you that's what he's doing. Is the basics, but I think one of the things we're also suffering with in our industry is lack of skill.
Yep.
And so, and I say that with all respect, it doesn't mean that people, it's just they've been able to wing it forever and it's been okay. And so right now, the market is telling us you can't wing it anymore, which is
right.
exactly what you're getting to, is that you
can't wing it anymore.
And I learned that lesson. And once I learned that when I was prepared for something, there was no fear of rejection because I'm completely prepared. Right.
Yeah.
So the only thing of it, fear of rejection only comes from not having the skill necessary to execute the play. Right.
Listen,
so if I walked out to the football field and someone said, okay, go over here and you're going to do a red 42, this, that, and the other thing. And I've never been on the field before. I go, I have no idea what you're talking about. I don't speak that language.
No.
Everybody else in the huddle understood exactly what he meant.
If you got into a ring with a fighter, a boxer, you have fear of getting your ass beat. So if I work with you on boxing, then you're going to go in, right? And like, that's the difference. And so there's a 10 times rule. And again, introverts and extroverts approach it a little bit differently. So the 10 times rule is this, and there was an actual study from Microsoft, I think it was Microsoft, but we'll just call it Microsoft for now, where they were designing a designer mouse and they had 2 groups work on it. So one group, they said, we're going to give you like 10 weeks to design this mouse and give us like the best mouse possible. And then the second group, they said, we're going to give you this mouse, but you have to show it to us every week, and then we're going to give you feedback, right? And then you're going to go back, right? So Don, which group ended up with a better mouse? The one that had 10 weeks to do it, or the one that actually reported to it and showed and got feedback 10 times?
The second.
The second group, right?
So they actually practice.
Right. So we also need feedback from the world. One of the things that we tend to overthink is we think that we're going to overthink it to make it better. And the reality is that you have to work with somebody to make it better because they have to give you feedback. And I know it's kind of cringy sometimes because it's like, hey, look at my presentation, look at my speech, but you need that feedback from people. And like, sometimes I look at people and they're like, well, I don't know if realtors would like this. So I say, well, go ask some realtors. They'll tell you if it's good. Ask your realtor friends if you would attend this, because if they would, then other realtors would attend it. So you need the feedback loop. So the 10 times rule is this: you have to do something at least 10 times for it to get better, and you need feedback 10 times for it to get better. Now, introverts and extroverts will kind of approach it a little bit differently. The extroverts will say, great, I'll just do a webinar, I'll get some feedback, and then the next time I do a webinar, I'll do it better, because they don't mind embarrassing themselves so much. But the introverts is a little bit different. Like, that's where you get a colleague, a coach, or somebody next to you and say, hey, I'm going to show you what I got. Give me some feedback internally, like before I release it, right? And that's what I did with my client. I said, well, you could put out a shitty video, not get any views, and then come to me, or you can just send it to me and I'll give you the takes and the criticism before you post it, right? So you have to do something at least 10 times in order to give it enough execution and feedback for it to be better. And then what you do is, the 10th time isn't always the best time. Sometimes the 7th time was the best time, right? Because maybe it degraded a little bit.
We know that one.
You remember this? You remember this from Alex said this, on stage, Don. He said, then you look back and you say, you take the top 10%, you take the top 10% results, and then you repeat that one, right? So if you did 10 webinars, so if you want to meet real estate agents, we're going to meet them through webinars. Okay. So we're going to invite a bunch of real estate agents through webinars. I'm going to do 10 of them, and I'm going to look back, and depending on the topics, depending on the presentation, webinar number 4 was the best. I had the most attendees I had the best presentation. I had the most topics. Why? What was it about the invite that was better? What was it about my effort that was better? What was it about that? And then do that one 10 more times and forget about 9. And that is under the premise of getting better in quality and then executing your best stuff. And that's what we need in the industry right now.
So this is awesome. I'm taking notes, by the way, Khai. This is good stuff. I mean, this is really good. And I know you get trained by trainers. I mean, you're always around, like Gino and I. That's why we bump into each other almost every event. Is we're sponges. We're always absorbing ideas, strategies, tactics from the best of the best.
Yep.
The challenge that we see, because we have a team and we're in the trenches, you know, daily. We've worked together, Khai. You know.
Yeah.
You know our system and our team and all that, and we have a great infrastructure. But what's funny is watching certain individuals not practice their presentation, not practice their value proposition. Like why you versus somebody else is a great answer. When you're confident because you have a presentation and you have strategies to help someone, I wrote down, everybody should figure out how you really help your partners. Everybody says they do, but realistically, I close on time.
Yeah. How do you get somebody going, right? Like, how do you lead them a little bit?
Right.
Like, that's the key too. So how do we lead people? How do we lead ourselves? Shit. Like, how do I get
right.
myself? How do I get myself to get started? You know, one of the best ways is I think that we have to understand that we have a dopamine system in our brains, right? And so the dopamine system is that when I do something, if I do something and I get some type of pleasure from it because I did a good job or I was successful, my brain is going to reward me with dopamine. It's like our internal drug. That's where the word dope comes from, drugs. So drugs is like synthetic dopamine because it makes us feel good. That's why drugs are so addictive, because you want it over and over and over again, right? So winning is addictive, right? So people that are competitors, like they love winning. Like Jordan, just dude, 72 games. Like, dude, he's just addicted to winning. So we have to understand that a lot of people, their dopamine systems are screwed up, first of all, because they're finding comfort in things that aren't really rewarding for them. So if you wake up every single day and you're kind of like addicted to your phone, and not necessarily social media, but you're always like, so contrary to belief, people that keep themselves busy, right? They're in their files, they're checking emails. Believe it or not, if you told them, I know you're going to look at them, Don, and you're going to be like, oh, you should do other things that make you money. But here's the reality. If that person actually got paid $2 million to do those things, they would just do those things. Does that make sense? Because those things are actually more enjoyable, if that makes sense. And so what's happened is that people have reprogrammed their mind to find joy out of things that don't actually give them reward. So if like you're a hunter and I tell you you're supposed to go get an antelope to bring home to your family, and you come back and you're like, well, the antelope was kind of scary, so I brought home a little squirrel. But then all of a sudden you start associating bringing back that squirrel as like winning. And so you've reprogrammed your dopamine in the wrong way. So we got to reprogram your dopamine to the bigger things, first of all. And what that happens is, first thing, you have to shut off all the bullshit. Like, can you wake up one day and not jump into your emails and not jump into your phone and everything like that, so that you don't get rewarded from that? But one of the ways to do it is, like I said, winning is addictive and small wins are addictive, right? So like if I'm you, Don, and I'm a leader and I've got a loan officer that you're trying to get him, you know, whatever, sit and work with him and help him fix that video. Like I said, go to a realtor meeting with him and show him what it's like to win. And they get a little bit of taste of that and they're going to want more. And that's what you have to understand about your body. You have to give yourself an opportunity to want more. So if you're out of shape and you go to the gym for the first time, my job as a personal trainer, if you're going to pay me $180 an hour to train you, I have to make that first session feel as rewarding as possible. I've got to make it a combination of fun and a combination of rewarding, because I want you
not just pain.
Not just pain. Not just pain. Do some personal trainers, I'm going to make it so painful. And
you won't come back because you're like, this
that, I don't ever want to go again.
I couldn't sit on the toilet.
Right? I don't ever want to go back again. Dude, golf is the perfect example. You could suck for 16 holes. You eagle number 17, you're like, dude, I'm back, baby. Like, I want to go forever. But that's how life is, right? And so you got to ask yourself, what are the small wins that you do? Maybe it's asking for a referral. Like, ask yourself, what do you know does work? And do that. And you start to get addicted to productivity, you know? And you start to get yourself in that emotion. And that's dope. That's a dopamine system. That's how you can work with stuff. But also the things that are giving you joy that don't do anything, like put the phone down, put the email down. And believe it or not, people are addicted to jumping in their files because some part of the brain says, oh, I'm being productive and it's rewarding. It's like, yeah, but it's not paying you. So do something else, right? And so you have to change that. And that's how you work with people. And I'm looking at this here. I just want to make sure that it covers dopamine effect, compound effect, intimidation factor. I want to go over that too. Somebody said to me the other day, well, I'm intimidated because, Don and Gino started a podcast and I want to start a podcast, but like, they're far ahead of me. And like, where do I go? And I always ask them this question. I says, well, what do you think Gino's doing today to win? And they're like, well, he's doing this and he's making these calls and he's doing this. And I says, well, can you do those same things? I said, yeah. I said, so you can beat Gino today, right? Like, if I want to be like Michael Phelps, I just have to be like Michael Phelps today. If I know that he's going to go work out for 3 hours, he's going to go, then I can do that today. And it's a compound effect because, I don't need to beat somebody right away, but I need to beat somebody today, and that compounds. And I don't remember whether it was Hormozi or Gary Vee that said this, but I think it was Hormozi. He said, remember the number one spot never lasts forever. Whoever's number one today was not number one last year. Think about who the top realtors are in your market. They weren't the top realtors 5 years ago. Now think about it another way. Those realtors have a lender today, and it probably wasn't the same lenders from 5 years ago. So if the number one spot doesn't last forever, it also means that you can be in the number one spot quickly. Because that lender who that realtor is committed to, who's not focused on quality, who doesn't practice and only executes, is going to lose that spot. You have an opportunity to beat that spot. In your head, you're like, oh my gosh, it's Mark, and he's like he's the preferred lender for this person. I'm like, yeah, but Mark's got his eye off the ball. Mark ain't practicing, Mark ain't getting better, and that number one spot can be overtaken super, super fast.
So Khai, I have a story that
you got to go in for that in our market.
This ties perfectly into something that we've seen over the last 12 months play out. One of our momentum builder speakers was a real estate agent, the number one real estate agent in the nation, and he at the time was working with a different company. He had MSAs and things. Jason Mitchell in Arizona, like something like 8,500 units a year. Okay, astronomical. The person who's getting his business today is a friend of ours. It was his first year as a loan officer, and he did over $100 million in volume in his first year. Do you know what he offers Jason Mitchell that nobody else offers him?
What's that?
Listing appointments. His entire focus is to generate online listing appointments for real estate agents. And he says, hey, if I was to generate 2 to 5 listing appointments a week for you, would you give me all your business?
Yeah.
Talk about a differentiator.
Yeah.
Put himself in the number one spot over every other loan officer.
Everybody else. And
that realtor, what he needs.
And what he needs to win.
Yeah.
Because every time he gets the listing appointment, he's winning. He's addicted to winning. He doesn't need to just. So there was a time that closing fast allowed a realtor to win because maybe I can win the offer and stuff like that. But now if you want to like up the ante and throw listing appointments, the more you're helping me win. Now I know what people are saying. They're like, but I'm a loan officer. Like I'm supposed to do. Well, here's the thing about being a loan officer. If you just think that you're a loan officer and you're doing loans, then you're a highly paid processor and you're gonna make about $90,000 a year. So to be a top loan officer, you have to provide value. You have to provide wins. And I actually learned this from Tom Ferry, that all roads lead to coaching. See, the only difference between a top lender who coaches their real estate agents to winning and me is that I charge a fee for coaching. The loan officer gets a loan in return. So we're both still getting paid for it, right? but all roads lead to coaching. And you know, I said to somebody the other day, I said, if you work with an agent, stop having this like, what can I do so you can give me business? I want you to think to yourself, what if I wanted to partner with this agent, or this agent wanted to partner with me and said, hey, we're going to start a real estate mortgage company together. And if I were to meet with you every single week, what could we do to create more business as a team? Because it's our company and we're going to share in the profits. Guess what? There's no difference there than working with an agent where they get the real estate commissions and you get the loan commissions. You're still working as a team to create business. But that's not what we're really taught. That's not what they're taught. They're taught to that we're here to, I'm going to do a loan for you, so you got to give me your business. But it's like, what do they get in return? Well, I'm going to do your loan. That's fine, but you're a commodity. You're not helping me win, right? And so we have to treat them different, like they're business partners. And what would I do? And I know what you say. Well, aren't I kind of doing real estate at that point? It's like, well, yeah, but do you want to be $100 million producer? I mean, listen, what's his name? Jason, that does the listen.
Mitchell, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. He's in the business of creating listing appointments, which why should he do that as a loan officer? But at the same time, he did 100 million as a loan officer. So if you think that you can waltz into this business and do 50 million and take a time capsule and go back to 2021, because that's the only time that you can do that. But in this market, you got to create the quality, and you got to prove your worth, you know? But I do understand that even though people are hearing this, they still don't know where to begin. And sometimes what it takes is a leader, a mentor, a coach, a friend to say, what are you doing? Let me help you with the next step. Let me give you feedback. And, you know, my client said, I never would have gotten to there without you, because I would have been overwhelmed. And I'm like, I know sometimes you got to be around somebody who's done it, that already knows the steps, because it took me 2 years to learn it. I'm going to show you in 2 hours what I learned really, really, really fast. And by the way, I don't know if you noticed, but like he, you know, he's focusing, he's talking. I taught him a little trick. He's actually reading a teleprompter like this. That's how he got a script. And we use technology to like recenter his eyes.
With AI?
With AI, yeah.
Because he was the first one. He's definitely like,
oh, he's all over the place. And I didn't look at him and say, can you look at the camera? Because he's trying to read a script. So we use AI technology to center his eyes. Every single one of my videos, dude, I'm never looking at the camera, because I'm looking, you know, and I'm showing how to do jump cuts and everything. But that took me hours and days and weeks to figure out. And so then I help him with that, right?
Khai, you can't see this, but eye contact is so important that I bought a thing called a plexicam. And what the plexicam does is, you can see, here's the camera right here. So
yeah, it's right in the middle.
It used to sit up here. And
yeah.
You know, so all of us are like this.
Yeah.
And so now I have this see-through camera basically that sits right in the center, so that I can make eye contact with the camera, and by default, eye contact with you.
Yeah.
And so that's how important that is. So if you think you could just look off to the side and read something, that's a mistake. That's
definitely.
I
tried one. It was the wrong one, but I know what the one you're talking about. I'm going to try that next, because I see the same thing. The only reason why I'm doing it is because my Mac, it's built in.
Yeah.
If I do that and I get a floating camera, because you're right, because am I looking here? Am I looking at you? Am I looking off? Right? Yeah. Like, you want to give people the attention.
Yeah.
I
even do things like, I'll move my chat window in front of that camera. I'll move the participants window in front of that camera. It's that important that you're looking people in the eyes, because it would be rude if you were in person and you weren't looking people in the eyes. So why is it okay on Zoom?
Absolutely. Yeah. There was a concept that I learned from a couple people. So Hormozi talked about it, but my personal coach, I coached with Dan Sullivan for 4 years.
Stunning.
And yeah, right, like strategic coach.
Jesus, one of the best coaches in the world.
Yeah,
love his books. I'm all about his books lately.
He took me from, you know, independent coach, 6 figures, to like building a coaching company, 7 figures. It's just learning all of his wisdom. And one of the things that he said is, he says, we have to have, I'm going to kind of combine, because him and Hormozi said this. And so we always talk about time management. Like, we want to focus on sales and marketing time, right? Like, can you block off that time? But I think there's an overemphasis in that, because then you end up just doing a lot of low quality work. So I get it, right? Here's the thing, is a formula. You have to put yourself in front of as many people as possible, and you need to do that for at least 2 to 4 hours a day minimum, 2 to 4 hours a day minimum. If you spent 4 hours a day telling as many people as you can who you are, what you're about, what you do, you'll never have a problem with business. But how many hours a day do we do that? No, we're stuck in our world, so people don't hear about us. Like if you could just tell 10 new people a day who we are, 100 people a day who we are, all right? And we do that from a combination of sales and prospecting, but also marketing. Marketing is better because marketing is one to many. You want to reach hundreds and thousands of people in that time versus just onesie twosies. I can pound the phone for 4 hours, but what's the maximum amount of like connects that I can get versus I can do my social media, my email, I can do my webinars, right? But there's another time that we need, which is called, Hormozi calls it maker time. I call it creator time because we're in this like creator world today. And creator time is not just about like creating things, but it's also creating yourself. It's spending that time to learn the craft, spending that time to practice the craft, spending the time to get good at the craft. And you also have to put, if not the same amount of hours, more hours. Okay. Because that realtor presentation that you had, it could have been better if you would have spent some creator time really focusing on the presentation. So I remember this was actually back in the day when we worked together. There was a realtor in Valencia that I met with. I want to say her name was Jenny. And she interviewed 3 loan officers. I won the deal. She says, no, we're going to pick you. And it was so simple what I did. What I did was I interviewed her, asked her questions. I asked her what her goals was. I wrote them all down and I came back 3 days later and I says, well, these were all your goals. This is what I think I can do to help you achieve your goals and win. So she chose me. And you know what she said? She said, not only did you actually write down my goals, not only did you come back and tell me, here's how you can help me win. She goes, you were the only loan officer that took notes.
Right?
Like you were the only loan officer that took notes. And I'm like, right, because it was about you. It wasn't about me. Right. But are you doing that? Like, are you preparing yourself? And if you say to yourself, well, I barely have enough time to do my loans and to make my phone calls, like, how do I find that time? Here's a stark reality is like, when you're a little bit smaller, you're going to have to do that after hours. And so it might be 9 p.m. at night that you're practicing that video. It might be 8 p.m. at night that you're learning ChatGPT for the first time, whatever it is. But here's what I'm going to tell you. And I'm going to draw this really quickly. So there's, this is what I want kind of like everybody to look forward to. By the way, I did the same thing. I bought this tool because I was like, what can I do to like improve the quality of my coaching? It's like, I'm going to do this drawing tool because it's just easier for me to like show people. So this is like growth and this is like work, right? So a lot of people have this misconception that the more I want to grow, the more work I actually have to do. I've actually looked at people and I've said, do you want to do 20 loans a month? And they're like, I don't know that I want to do 20 loans a month. Of course you want to do 20 loans a month. The only reason why you don't want to do it is you automatically equate it to like more work. You know what I'm saying? Well, ideally, there should be a point here where it actually goes this way. Okay. Where you can actually turn the work down. And the way that you do that is people that are stuck in this channel, they do sales, and people that are in this channel, they do marketing. Because marketing allows you to put yourself in front of hundreds and thousands of people. So you get so much opportunity and you have so much business and you have so much leads. That money starts to solve problems because you can hire people and automate people and your work actually goes down. So if you only focus on selling, you're only going to be as good as your next sale. And even though the coach is like, oh, I'm going to build a team. Yeah, but guess what? When sales goes down, you got to let go of the team. So you're going to go up in sales. And then as your sales go down, you're going to go down. But when you're marketing, you go, boom. Well, I have more leads than I can deal with. And so you build your team and you never let go of your team because your marketing is always like super, super, super high. And so what I tell people is like the true path, the true goal that everybody should have is to grow big enough so that you start to work less. And that's how my business works. The less clients that I have, the more I have to work, the more clients I have, the less I have to work because then I can because then my coaches start to work for me, you know, because I can be able to pay them. That's the path that people need to take too. And that's actually if I had to say one thing, the industry is obsessed with sales and prospecting and one-on-one meetings. We should be obsessed with marketing and branding. And remember, Vaynerchuk said that. He said people that sell, they do it because they don't know how to brand and market. But when you market and brand, and Patrick Bet-David, who, fun fact, his wife used to work for me as a loan officer, Jennifer Bet-David. So I feel like I need to call her and like get a dinner, right? Like that would be like a really cool treat. But anyways, right. Patrick Bet-David had a video out there. He said,
I sat down with Patrick Bet-David and turned him down and said I wasn't interested in working with him.
Oh, for his company, right? Yeah. Selling wealth advice. Yeah. But he said so too. He said, as a salesperson, you can make $100,000, you can make $1 million, you can make tens of millions of dollars. But if you ever want to make hundreds of $1 million, the only way you can do it is to be a great marketer, right? And so marketing is another path. And so I say that because I think that a lot of reasons why people get stuck is that they automatically equate success with more work. When if you do the quality work and you do the work that actually creates leverage, you'll start to do less work. You know, so I don't know how much time we have, but we have 5 minutes left.
That's actually a perfect segue. Look, I mean, we can't solve the world's problems in one webinar, but I think we at least got everybody focused on, hey, let me identify where I get stuck. And then maybe just leaving them with the question of what solutions can I utilize wherever I'm stuck? And I'm sure they can reach out to you for help with that, Khai. And I know your information's right there. It says connectwithkai.com.
Yeah. So if you go to connectwithkai.com, let me show you this. If you go to connectwithkai.com, it'll take you to here, my link tree. And I have a link right here, which is get unstuck. Okay. So click that. And it kind of sums up everything that I talked about today, but scroll down to the bottom. And if you want to, I'll offer this free, no strings attached. Click where you're stuck. Tell me what your problems are. It'll send me an email and I'll banter with you. I'll help you get unstuck because all it takes is one person to guide you and to get you unstuck to create the momentum that you need.
Momentum.
So, yes. No, seriously, momentum builder. Here's my tagline. I help loan officers get unstuck so you create enough momentum to propel your business forward. That's what I tell people. Because people don't necessarily need more strategies. Trust me, I got a shit ton of that too. But if I can't get you to do steps 1 and 2, you'll never see step 10. So what is it going to take? I just have to create some momentum. So I'm a momentum builder, okay? I have to create momentum in order for you to get to the next step. And so if you click connect with Khai, click get unstuck, I will respond and I'll give you some tips. I'll send you something, or if you want to do a free call, then let's do it.
I feel a t-shirt coming on. I am a momentum builder.
Yeah,
I am. We're gonna get little pins and shirts and that's marketing. I got that right now. Sonia, you heard that right?
And I like the red colors too, so I'm all for it, man. But I appreciate you guys, bringing me here. I mean, I always try to, people don't need more information. They need like, what is the thing that will get me there? And that I'm always trying to rack my brain. Like, I get it. Like, I'm like that math tutor. Like when I was in college, I took calculus. I had no idea what the professor was like. So I hired this Russian math tutor for like $15 an hour. And all of a sudden I understood it. Right. And that's like our job, right? Is to get people to understand things better and like to create momentum better. So I appreciate you guys having me on the show.
Yeah, it's great having you. You've been a long time friend on the speaking tour and you fit. It's funny, we're continuing to work on our branding and what we're about. And one of the things that's made us grow is finding givers like you. We've surrounded ourselves by a lot of professionals that are givers and they just want to help more people. And you're one of those people. And that's why we love you being part of Momentum Builder, because everybody that's part of our community all wants to help each other. And it's amazing having, all the professionals, we all know that jump on these calls, reach out, and if you help enough people, you'll get what you need in life. And
oh, absolutely. Because I mean, I have a marketing mindset. I'm not here trying to sell every single person that listens to me. I just have a marketing mindset. I just want the more people to know about what I do. And I will end with this, is that another thing too, is that if you're overthinking looking stupid or failing or anything like that, I want you to understand that you have a talent, you have a skill that can help people. And you should not let your ego get in the way of helping people, because it is selfish. And so when people say, do you get nervous speaking? I say, no, I don't get nervous, because it's not about me. Like, everybody here that's listening, it's about helping them. And my analogy is, if you had a sick child and you had to call every one of your friends and family members and ask for $100 to help pay for that operation, are you going to like fawn over and be like, I don't want to sound like I'm desperate? Or you going to do it for the child, right? Because it's in the name of the child. But guess what? You're the child. You have to do it for your growth and for your goals. And it's not about your ego. Like, you just have to help people. And you know what? I've bombed presentations where I have. I think I bombed one like 4 months ago, but I still told myself I tried to help people. I feel good about that. And there was at least one person who liked me, you know? No, I'm dead serious. Right? There's at least one person that I connected with, right? And so that's all I think about, man. Like, you gotta have that like helping mentality moving forward.
It's a great attitude, because some people feel that they have to be in front of, you know, 10s and 20s and hundreds or whatever, but it's just a couple of people. If you impact someone in a positive way, it matters. And I've seen great professionals at the end of a huge seminar. You know what happens at the end of the last day, and it goes from 400 to 200 to 100 to 50.
Yeah.
But I love those at the end, because we MC those things, where they're like, we apologize. We're like, sorry, there's only 50. Everybody's like, how you telling it out, that type of thing. When we were MCing at Mastermind, and we were a little bummed that there was only like that many people left, and it was cool. The speaker, Casey Cunningham, was like, doesn't matter if there's 10 people out there, I'm just gonna give it my all, and if it affects those 10 people in a positive way, then it's good for me. I don't have to be in front of 100. I don't. No. Whoever I'm in front of, I'm gonna give my all.
Yeah, and
she did. She slayed it.
And you want to work with the people. You want to work with the people that want to work with you. By the way, my ops manager just texted me, you're supposed to be on a webinar 2 minutes ago. So,
all right.
With that said, I got to start another webinar that I'm hosting. So I appreciate the time, guys. And if anybody wants to reach out to me, hit connect with Khai, click Unstuck, or whatever you want to do. And I'm happy to help every single one of you guys.
Thanks, buddy. Always good to see you, and great stuff. Like I said, I have a page and a half of notes, so really appreciate you. Great
Absolutely, bud. Take care.
All right. Talk to you soon.
Later, man.
And everybody that's still on, next week, we have a great show. Rethink everything you know. Gino knows more about this piece, but I know the next one, Mr. Phil Treadwell. He's one of our mentors, friends, and one of the best mindset coaches in the business, and just a good dude. So he's come up as well. Gino, you can probably talk more on the FinLocker piece.
Yeah, I mean, I Brian's going to talk about some other things, though. We're not going to focus on the software, focus on FinLocker, but really it goes down the road of, how do you nurture someone today that has anxiety about buying a home? How do you get them from uncomfortable and anxious to confident and ready to take action? That's going to be the focus of the conversation.
Cool. And then anybody else that hasn't downloaded our app, download the Momentum Builder app, so you're always in the know. And then like us and be involved with our communities. We're talking Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. We're stronger together. And we appreciate you being on our call today. Very cool. Keep in touch. Reach out and tell us who you want on these calls, and we'll bring it.